Hey everybody, Chandelure is out, and in today's video I'm going to show you how I play this Pokemon. Chandelure is incredibly fun and with a lot of burst potential, but it does take a little bit of practice with the mechanics. Just before we get started, if you guys are interested in winning yourself a Chandelure license, I am doing a license giveaway on Twitter. The link is down below, follow the instructions, and good luck, I hope you win. Now, as always, if you want to see any of this action live, follow us on YouTube and Twitch. We stream 3 to 4 times a week. Alright, so in this video, the moveset I've been loving on Chandelure is Overheat and Imprison. I think it plays a lot like Gardevoir, in which I'll talk to you guys a little bit about it throughout the video. And the build I've been using is Slick Spoon, Wise Glasses, and Choice Specs, giving me maximum of special attack damage in all my movesets. Alright, so at level 5, you unlock Overheat, and it has a pretty interesting mechanic. I like to think about it as Psyshock. Now, it did take a while for me to get used to, but essentially, if you hold down the button, you're able to shoot out 3 bursts of damage, and every time you hit a Pokemon with this move, you will be able to get something called a Heat Stack. Now, after you do your 1 to 3 bursts, you have a sure hit boosted Overheat move as well, where you're able to target someone and they get hit by this extra fireball that comes out. Now, ideally, you want to hit as many times as possible with your 3 Overheat to get the 3 heat stacks, and then do this massive damage with your sure hit boosted attack. So there is a lot of burst potential over there. The boosted auto attack is quite like Espeon's. It takes 5 seconds to charge up, and then you get this incredible flame-like attack, as you can see here, doing increased damage as well. And a lot of these moves have that, burn tick as well. So if you, stay out of the fight in terms of the range, you can do a lot of damage and just constantly be a pest to the enemy team. Now, the second move that I've chosen is Imprison. This is quite like Moonblast on Gardevoir. You can see how I keep comparing to Gardevoir, because Imprison will be able to immobilize the first person it hits. And what's cool about it is that any Pokemon that steps into that zone will also be, I guess, they won't be able to use any of their moves, they'll only be able to auto attack in that zone. Which is quite helpful against other Pokemon, if you want to stop, perhaps, the enemy team from actually bursting down your team, because they're only just able to use their auto attacks. And then the Unite move, once you can see, it's called Ignite Midnight. You can go, basically, not really invisible, but you kind of make sure that 30% of the vision is taken away from your enemies, and then you got this ability to send out this huge laser beam that is incredibly loud on this Pokemon. And yeah, you've got this solar beam that goes through, and then the ending beam does increase damage. You can see the amount of burst I did on that Slowbro. That's kind of insane. And I followed it up by not hitting anybody with my Unite move. But it's okay. We do be practicing on this mod. Still not 100% on it. And yeah, so you can see, every time I have 3 stacks, you've got that timer where you can burst down the enemy with an extra Overheat. Now, I want to talk about Chandelure's passive, because I think that's quite underrated right now. The passive is called Infiltrator, and every time you do damage on Chandelure, your attacks actually will start ignoring 2.5% of the enemy's special defense. And this can stack up to 8 times, and it gets refreshed every time you do damage. So at the max 8 stacks, you can ignore up to 20% of the enemy's special defense. And I think that's why this Pokemon is so good at shredding the enemy and bursting them down. The only weakness, I guess, Chandelure has is that there is no real mobility. It is similar to Espeon. You can do a lot of bursts, you can CC them with Imprison, but you can't really get out of the fight. So if you don't have a front line, or you aren't able to, I guess, kite away from the enemy's attacks, you're going to be dead. And this Pokemon doesn't have a lot of health. It is not the most tanky Pokemon. So you're going to be quite ineffective if you aren't able to get out of the enemy's attacks that way. So it works really well with comps that maybe have a very tanky front line, or maybe possibly 2 defenders in front, and then you can just be at the back throwing down your overheats like so, and then making sure that your boosted overheat also hits them. Look at that, so much damage on the Eldegoss. It is quite an incredible Pokemon to play. Alright, so we did manage to get the Aleki, and I can see here, Blastoise is going in. I have my Unite again, and I'm just waiting for the opportune, you know, time to use this Unite. I know Blastoise has a Unite, so I was just hoping to wait for the Blastoise to Unite, and then maybe I can pick up 1 or 2 with the Unite move. Now, the one thing I have to note that I don't really like on this Pokemon because of its Unite move is that it is not unstoppable. So even if you get your Unite move off and you're starting the beam, you can get cancelled halfway through the animation by the silliest things, like a Lapras bubble. This has happened to me so many times, and I think it just goes to show you have to really position well enough, and your team has to be able to stop any engagements on you while you're doing this attack. Because there is a lot of burst on the laser beam, but if you just get cancelled by, let's say, even Rayquaza's Tornado, you're not going to be able to finish your animation for your move and do that ending beam, which does the most amount of damage. Alright, so you can see here, I'm trying to follow along. I'm not trying to go frontline too hard here because I know, for example, one Espeon Psycho will just kill me so easily. I'm trying to just move away. The range isn't too incredible on Overheat, but it does give you somewhat of a space you can have behind people. And look at that. Boom. Kill that Slowbro. I'm out of here. I don't want any part of it. And that's just something I wanted to touch upon so that explains why I'm running X-Speed on this Pokemon. I think Eject and X-Speed are probably going to be your best friends. No other item really are able to get you out of some tough situations if you are Chandelure. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is the combos I've started kind of testing with Chandelure. Obviously, Imprison and Overheat is a great combo to use. You stun the first enemy and it allows you to get, you know, your Overheat on. I've seen people play Poltergeist as well with this. I don't think it's a bad moveset either. But that moveset, it doesn't stun them, it just slows them and slows anybody that comes into the zone. Which, you know, potentially can set up your Overhit stacks as well. The main thing about this Pokemon is in order to do the max amount of damage, you want to hit everybody with your Overheat move. Because if you don't get your heat stacks, therefore less damage that way. So, yeah, I remember at the start, for those people that have been in my streams, that one of the first few games I played on Chandelure, I didn't realize you had to hold it down. So I was just doing one Overheat burst and then doing the short hit move, which, you know, greatly decreased my output of damage. But now, you know, knowing the fact that you can get up to 3 stacks in, it definitely improved my damage a whole lot, as you can see from this game. Alright, Rayquaza is about to spawn. We are ready to go. I definitely cannot go in first because I will literally just get melted by any tiny attack that I can see from the enemy. I do want to set up my Imprison though for my team, so if we can somehow imprison one of their front lines or potentially even a back line that is out of position, we can pick them off with the team here. Because Imprison is quite strong. And here we go. We try to stun somebody here. Imprison doesn't have the great of a range, so you do have to be very careful when you are trying to go in with the Imprison move. Here we go. Blastoise gets a massive pick on Espeon, and I remember they called for the Rip. Now, the only people we have to watch out for on that team that has potential secure is Glaceon, because the Espeon is dead here. And here we go. I've got my Unite move, and boom. We did not get it. We couldn't even see much, but we had the beam on Rayquaza. That's what matters. So I get slow beam by Slowbro, but then by that time, it's too late. Even though I can't score, my team will be able to get the score in, and I just have to focus on doing as much damage as possible. Fantastic work. Great damage by my team. And I'm just going to see if anybody is bot lane over here. Let's see. Oh, there's a Glaceon. So we will leave as soon as possible here. Now, I do want to talk about Imprison Plus as well. Once you do get the upgrade on Imprison, not only are the first person that you hit with Imprison immobilized, everyone in that zone when you first land it will be immobilized for a tiny bit of time, which, you know, adds on the CC instead of just having the first person being, you know, frozen in place for like 0.7 seconds. Alright, with 8 seconds to go, we are going to enter a little bit, trying to farm a little bit more damage. Charizard gets the Unite move down. I'm on 1 HP. But you can see with the Charizard Unite and my Overheat, we absolutely shred this Slowbro. And that's going to be it. That's going to be a GG's. And I remember, I think we got 12 kills, 10 assists this game. Very fantastic game. As long as you can stay away from the front line, you can do massive amount of damage against the enemy team. And there we go. Like up the video if you haven't. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And let me know in the comments if you want a guide on how to use Flamethrower set. Because I've tried it a little bit, and it doesn't look too bad either. So, I'll catch you guys in the streams, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.